This isn't something you can outrun, you know.
Sorna, it's fine. I have to figure out how to get a new binder coil first. That's all.
Okay. Maybe I'll finally sell some of my artwork.
Star Wars Beyond Victory was one of the biggest mixed bag games I've ever played, and I am thankful that I got a key for it. And it'll be definitely one of those games I break out whenever I have a Star Wars fan friend over.
I'll be okay, old friend.
But as for going back all by myself, I'm not 100% sure. You see, the game's split up into 3 types of modes: play, race, and experience. The play mode is essentially the campaign, where you'll be going into like MR, VR, and even pod racing. This is the mode where you'll be working through the story and basically interacting with different characters, and this is where all the actual things come together. The VR modes were pretty tight and they looked incredible. I mean, they really looked incredible. Most things you could pick up and interact with, and the actual voice acting was brilliant, and the noises around you were, well, it was Star Wars. And in these VR modes, you'll be mainly in your garage fixing your pod racer.
Magna Driver should do it.
Which is a pretty good experience, and I kind of can see them making an actual game alone for this one, but they'd have to add a little bit more bulk to it. Apart from that, there are large times where you'll be just interacting with other characters and basically talking, or they'll be talking a lot, you'll just be wandering around trying to get to the next scene. The MR modes, or mixed reality modes, were pretty decent. I heard a lot of people complain that they couldn't make their area big enough. I kind of felt stretching my arms out fully. I'd reached a point where it was comfortable and you can see enough.
Asking me, who you know is a pod racer, to push an anti-pod racing rally? No.
Well, I heard that you were out for the season, and I figured, you're not really a pod racer anymore.
You can zoom in and out in these modes, and most of the time you'll be zoomed out just so that you can see everything. Again, it looked incredible, and the actual characters looked incredible. Voice acting, same as. The only problem I really had was some missions you had to go and find or go to a location, but the waypoint wouldn't pop up straight away, so you could end up moving away from the waypoint, which could result in you going further to get to a destination you were closer to. In both these modes, the controls worked pretty well. I had no real complaints about it, apart from maybe trying to get around some objects here and there. And I also kind of felt that some bits were kind of put there just to fill in gaps, or at the very least trying to put some padding into the game that's already quite short. The pod racing was the mode that I've heard so many complaints about.
I'd like to take this opportunity to say, long live Emperor Palpatine! There also appears to be a small group of protesters. Well, we wish them good luck with that. They'll be executed in no time.
I can kind of see 2 points of why people complain about this. Number one, it's a mixed reality, over the top type experience, which I think a lot of people wanted an actual experience in the actual pod racer themselves, which would have been absolutely amazing. Give me just that on its own, I'd be in. The second complaint was the fact that you can't see all of the track, or at least not straight forward from where you are. So whenever anything pops up at you, you don't have time to react. Now, the first level, or the first race I played, I kind of was well, that's not the fact, is it? I can see clearly what's coming up. The second race, however, yeah, that was pretty brutal. I think the problem that I had was the fact that they've got bits in it that look like alternate routes, but they're not, and you go crashing or fall to your character's demise. I don't think this would be half the problem if they didn't have those bits in them, but I don't know whether someone was trying to be clever, but it just wasn't. The pod racing for me wasn't a terrible experience. It just really wasn't a nice experience either, and definitely not what I was waiting or wanting. Again, it looked good, it sounded great, and there were some nice little commentary touches, but it kind of really disappointed me knowing that every time I went in, that first or second race wasn't skill, it's just learning the track, and it felt really weird that they didn't test this out or had someone testing it out and they were like, this doesn't work too well. And then during one pod race, the game completely crashed, and it ultimately crashed in a very impressive way, as I've never had it that I couldn't open anything or do anything with my MetaQuest, and all I could do was restart it and then it came back online. It was weird. But I will say I've not known anyone else to have that problem, so maybe it was just localized or just a blip. Oh, and all these races can be then replayed in the races part mode thing. Not that you would probably want to. The other mode was experience, which I found really cool. You can like take all these characters and unlockables and basically put them in your environment. You could take a stormtrooper and make it look like you're hitting them with a lightsaber or force lightning. You could stand with R2-D2 or even, I don't know, put them next to you like the advert and sit next to them. And this is the mode I will be showing off to my Star Wars friends. Kneel before your master. Basically, I don't know, they can sit down and experience what it's like to have R2-D2 sat next to them, or indeed shoot force lightning out of your fingers. And over to the score. As Yoda would probably say, disappointed I am. Huh? For me, it looked incredible, it felt incredible, it sounded incredible. You were in Star Wars, but the pacing felt off. The pod racing was just not what we wanted. And as everybody has like pointed out by now, had a few flaws to it. A lot of my gameplay felt like padding, and oh, I am in shock, horror, and I don't know what to say. I want to give this a high mark because it's Star Wars and I am such a fanboy of Star Wars. This is really hard for me because I want to give it a 6 at least, but that's kind of like, I'd like to give it a 6 out of 10 for fans of Star Wars, but I'm a fan of Star Wars. I kind of like leaning more average game, 5 out of 10. And I think personally, if this didn't have the Star Wars universe attached to it, it possibly could have got lower. Okay, I'm gonna go for a 6 out of 10. I possibly could only recommend this for fans of Star Wars, and I think the only reason I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 is because they haven't tried pricing the shit out of it and over asking for more money than it's actually worth for what they've made. And I have a feeling that the devs know this, and maybe they've had some sort of corporate, you know, insight into it, and it's not the game they wanted to make. I'm not 100% sure, but we got what we got. I am generally interested in what your thoughts on this is or are. Please leave that down in the comments. Do like and subscribe if you made it this far. It's been very nice having you over, because life is better when we game together.